Well, 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 looks like I was right with my prediction about the teaser image, eh? Just kidding. Again, I think all credit should go to the Redditor Spider 108 for data mining the actual name of this class months ago. But yeah, yesterday's stream confirmed it that the new Warrior Ascendancy is the Smith of Kitava. Anyways, how's it going, guys? Lex here, and as the title of this video implies, I wanted to theorycraft some off-the-cuff build ideas for this Ascendancy, seeing as all I play is Warrior. But I should say that this is just based off of what we know right now. I mean, a lot of this stuff could change, you know. We're going to be seeing, as they claimed, over 100 new support gems and over 100 new uniques. But basically I wanted to go over the initial strengths and weaknesses of this Ascendancy, what I think may be overrated with this Ascendancy, etc. I'll say my first impression is good. I love playing fire-themed warriors, and as I suspected, they threw something for us in there. But anyways, yeah, let's get to the breakdown. Alright, so as you can see, half of the stuff in this picture is attributed to this one node here, Smith's Masterwork, which is an interesting Ascendancy for sure, but I do have some hesitation about it. We'll save it for last. What I do want to start with are these over here, this short fire branch here, which gives us 20% more fire damage, a welcome boost for us Avatar Fire Warriors, but also Heat of the Forge, which grants us Fire Spell on hit. Ironically, you know this from my Magma Barrier plus Trample Toes video, but if you're running Magma Barrier as your main damage dealer, at a certain point you don't really need the extra damage. If you're stacking plus melee skill on your gear, you'll be hitting in the multiple of millions. It's actually kind of insane. But this is assuming they don't touch anything with the damage scaling of Magma Barrier. I still think the added fire damage from this tree is going to be useful for all the other skills, you know, Perfect Strike obviously, Molten Blast, Volcanic Fissure, etc. And of course, Fire Spell on hit seems very interesting. I assume this will cast a random fire spell every time you hit something at your level or higher. I'm not really sure how the gem level plays into it here, but this seems really cool, especially if you have a way to hit rapidly and to keep triggering spells. Also, I often spec into fire damage on my warrior build since there are several juicy fire damage nodes easily reachable in their passive skill trees, so this is something I'm going to play around with for sure. And in this tree, we have more melee damage into against the Anvil, which also seems very strong. From what I understand, the temper weapon skill granted from this Ascendancy passive buffs your weapon with fire damage explosions on hit. Again, potentially good synergy with a fire damage stacking warrior, but aside from that, there isn't too much detail yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. And in this branch, we have minion damage into living weapon, which seems cool. I'll be honest though, I don't play a lot of minion builds, especially on warrior, but from what I can tell, you know, having a copy of your weapon fighting alongside you seems like it could be potentially very strong. I assume it'll be using all your equipped skill gems and such too. Though from the reveal stream footage, it looked like it used a unique attack that warriors don't have. I'm really not sure how to gauge this one. Maybe some of you minion build running warriors can chime in, but at the very least, I like the flavor of this theme. Though I don't think I'd go down this tree when building a fire-themed warrior, just to be fair. I think you'd probably be spreading yourself too thin, trying to make minions work while also trying to crank up fire damage at the same time. On the Coal Stoker and Forged in Flame branch, we have some honestly really strong sleeper nodes in my opinion. The fire resistance is nice leading up to the Coal Stoker, which grants your fire resistance modifiers to lightning and cold resistance at 50% of their value. That's pretty strong. Like say you have 80% fire resistance, really not that hard to do. I think that potentially means you have 40% cold and lightning resistance attached to that, which makes itemization so much easier honestly, and makes fire resistance stacking more of a thing. I don't think we know what this node is before Forged in Flame. It might be more fire resistant, or maybe it's maximum fire resistance, we shall see. But Forged in Flame makes your maximum fire resistance just straight up apply 1-for-1 to the maximum of your other elemental resistances, cold and lightning. That also seems really good when trying to tank up, to be honest. I could see myself grabbing that one for sure. But for now, let's go talk about this weird one down here. So this node is Smith's Masterwork, which doesn't require an Ascendancy point to activate, but once you activate it, you can only wear normal quality chest armor, so it can't have any existing modifiers on it. However, the potential upside here are these reasonably strong nodes down here, which is all of this stuff on the right here, which honestly seems kinda okay to me. Like each one of these costing an Ascendancy point is a pretty steep cost. But you know, if I were to make this work, I'd probably put my first 4 Ascendancy points in one of these damage trees over here, and then my last 4 over here just to juice up the chest piece. But some of these effects are a lot better than others. We're gonna start from the top and hit them all quickly. So first up, we have Dedication to Kitava. Honestly, quite strong. Chaos damage is scary, and chaos resistance is hard to build up, so having your armor apply to chaos damage is actually kinda huge. Heavy bracing, not a huge fan. Stun buildup is whatever, to be honest, just get hit less, I guess. And then we have heat proofing, also not a big fan. Ignite can be scary, but it's only one of many elemental status effects. It would be cool if it made you immune to more, but Oh well. And I'm going to group these 3 together. We have tantalum alloy, padded plates, and lead lining, all giving you 75% resistance to their respective elements, so yeah. This at a glance seemed kind of cool, just like slam an ascendancy point into one of these and bam, you don't have to worry about building up to whatever elemental resist through your gear. However, I think these are a bit of a trap, to be honest. Again, you can get a similar itemization loosening effect from Coal Stoker in my opinion, which is better. This also makes like a lot of rolls on your gear irrelevant, like elemental resist rolls are very common on drops, and if something has a roll on in an elemental resist that you've got 75% of passively, it devalues it, you know? Especially if it has a lot of other good rolls on it, you know? Without the Ascendancy, the item suddenly becomes amazing, but with the Ascendancy, it becomes inefficient. It just feels a little clunky to me. I don't know, maybe it's good, but my first impression is that you could probably be more efficient with your resistances if you go the Coal Stoker route. Kitava engraving is pretty straightforward, but this one I consider pretty good. 15% life is basically just mysterious lineage without having to spend 2 ascendancy points. Kinda nice. Support straps also seems good in my opinion. 20% more strength, which applies to all of your strength, you know? I just have hulking form on the mind, which increases the effect of your small passives, not pathing passives, or notable passives by 50%. So stat-wise, I'm not sure how the math works out, but looking purely at the stats, I think this is comparable in power, to be honest. Will definitely help out non-Titan Giant's Blood builds, but I could be wrong. I'm not going to pretend like I 100% am sure about this, but that's just how it feels to me. 5% life regen from leather bindings is okay. I don't know. I think it's not for me, or at least the builds I'm interested in playing. Internal air giving 50% reduced critical damage bonus seems pretty good actually. Could be a lifesaver in certain scenarios, but I don't know, what do you guys think? Is that strong? I'm just thinking of that Waystone modifier that gives monsters critical hit chance and bonus. I think the bonus is around 40 or 45% from what I remember, so this could effectively cancel that out. And I think most mobs also have a critical multiplier of 130%, which means that they hit you for 30% harder on a critical hit. You know, the more I think about it, the more useful it seems to me, to be honest, so it gets a pass in my book. And then there's Molten Symbol. Honestly, this seems really strong to me too. Again, leaning into the stacking fire resist thing will benefit this, but 25% of your physical damage taken as fire damage seems like it could be potentially useful against big physical damage hits, which ironically flat armor struggles to help with. I think this is actually good at first glance. Cool. And then we have Flowing Metal, 5% maximum fire resistance. Sure, but I'm not convinced it's worth 1 ascendancy point, honestly, so I'd probably pass on this. Overall, though, it's worth noting that I think this particular ascendancy, Smith's Masterwork, is really cool. You know, it's pretty expensive to respec your ascendancy points, but technically, you could swap around these points on a whim based on what you actually need or what you value at any given moment based on how your build is progressing. So for that flexibility, I do think it's really cool. Anyways, that's the Smith of Kitava Ascendancy and my thoughts on it in a nutshell. Again, we will have to wait to see the full breadth of the patch notes for more accurate predictions. But hey, with what's been revealed so far, I already have a build or two I want to play around with using this Ascendancy. Very excited. I think it's overall going to be a pretty strong one. Definitely interested in the fire damage with Temper Weapon. And from there, I got to decide if I want to go with the Coal Stoker, Forged in Flame route, or take advantage of this wacky Smith's Masterwork node with the normal chest armor. Alright, that's it for this one. But what do you guys think? Do you guys have any build ideas after seeing this reveal? Comment them below. I'm super curious to see what y'all come up with. But until then, I'll see you next time.